5 number, please mute.
I'll mute it. Okay, so Dine Kaddish Ubaruchu B'tzira Fasara V'Yatzu Miktsasam V'Dinshli Yatzira. So the Allah is a Kaddish, Baruchu, 10 people for a minyan. If some go out and Dinshli Yatzira, but you give us even. The first part's not really a lot we do. You get very much involved in bar mitzvahs, so not a lot of it, at least in the first half, is practical for many. So Aleph, after Yishtabah, Aimer Shiyatzibur Chatzi Kaddish. Shiyatzibur says Chatzi Kaddish. Einar Kaddish Baruchu Kedusha ve'ein Karan B'Torah Ela Basara Noshim Gedolim. You don't say Kaddish and Baruchu and Kedusha, and you can't do Kriyas HaTorah only with 10 men who are Gedolim. Right? As we know, you can't do any Davar Kedusha less than 10 men. What about, so do they have to be from or not? It's a common question. Somebody not from allowed to be part of a minyan. So we say that somebody not from is allowed as long as he's not anti. Let's say there weren't 10 people. Then a 10th man comes in. It gets completed. The minyan gets completed afterwards. Shiratziva shouldn't say Kaddish because you can only say Kaddish on something that's said when there's 10. Meaning the actual thing has to be said with 10 people. Meaning if 9 people said it and the 10th didn't say it, and then the 10th comes along, but he didn't say Yishtabach or Psuk with the Zimmer or anything with the Tzibur. Same thing when people say a parak of Tilim, then a 10th man comes and says, oh, now let's say Kaddish. No, he has to say, according to the Kitzur at least, he has to, the 10 people have to say it together. Right? But then he brings into parentheses that there are cholkim on this. You should wait to say Yishtabach until 10 people come. However, that's really just the chazan, but the other people can say Yishtabach, as we know, and he doesn't, I don't think he says it, the Kitzur, but bottom line is, when you're waiting for the tzibur to do Yishtabach, you're supposed to daven up to Yishtabach and including Yishtabach and finish it. Because you don't want a hefsek. We'd rather the hefsek be after Yishtabach than before Yishtabach. So if you're an on-time guy, so you're supposed to finish Yishtabach by yourself and then wait for the tzibur. That applies even on Shabbos, when they do, and then Yom Tov, when they sing, HaMelech and Hakel, all that, really you're supposed to, I don't know about Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, that I don't know, but on a regular Shabbos Yom Tov, you're supposed to go up to and including Yishtabach. And they're allowed to wait up until a half hour. And more than a half hour, don't wait. You say they should say Yishtabach and then wait. And when 10 people come, they should say first some psukim, and then say the Chatzi Kaddish. Fine. Gadol, now he gets into Bar Mitzvah. Gadol, it already finished 13 years. That means he's into the 14th year. Right? Because there's 2 requirements to be Bar Mitzvah. You have to have Beis Cyrus with purity, and you have to also be into your 14th year. So we samech on the chazaka that he has 2 years. If the kid's born Rosh Chodesh Nisan, ain't nasa gadol ad Rosh Chodesh Nisan. He doesn't become a gadol until Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Ta'ana b'tchilas halayla shel Rosh Chodesh Nisan, which is the beginning of the night of Rosh Chodesh Nisan. La'achar shleish esrei sana nasa gadol. After 13 years, he becomes a gadol. Mishanel b'chodesh Adar. Somebody who's born in Chodesh Adar, k'shayis a shana pshuta, in a regular year, k'shanasa gadol a shana muberes, and then when he's a bar mitzvah, it's a leap year. So it's a common question: which Adar does he become bar mitzvah? Ain't nasa gadol ad Adar sheni. He only becomes a gadol Adar sheni. But if he was born during a leap year in the first Adar, nasa gadol gamkin ba'Adar rishon. In that case, he becomes a bar mitzvah in Adar rishon. Right? Meaning, if he was born in Adar rishon, then he becomes a gadol in Adar rishon too. Let's say when he was born, it was a leap year. So then, bein shenol ba'Adar rishon, bein shenol ba'Adar sheni, nasa gadol b'yom zeh ba'Adar shel ata. which means that he may be less than 13 theoretically, because he was born in the second Adar and his bar mitzvah is going to be in the first Adar. Meaning we don't have to wait till Nisan if he was born in the leap year, and then his bar mitzvah is in a non-leap year. Sometimes when you have a nar who's born before his friend, it's possible, even though he's older, he may become a bar mitzvah later. Right? He's born during the leap year. One was born on the 20th. This one on the 10th of Adar Sheni. In the year that they became Gedolim was a Shana Pshuta. So then the kid that was born on the 10th is going to be even though he was born on Adar Sheni, so he's really younger, is going to become bar mitzvah first. Fine. Gimel. Right, the famous thing, every kid knows this. You're not supposed to count Klal Yisrael. So when you're counting for a minyan, you don't count 1, 2, 3, 4. You count. You're not supposed to count the gulgaloisam to each to their heads. Right? Ki also limited says Yisrael gulgaloisam afilu devar mitzvah. You're not allowed to count Klal Yisrael even to their gulgalos. Tosiv. Yishma shalos am beifkedim batlaim. That's how you're supposed to count. Fine. This was a big COVID. This was the big COVID sugya. Like, how do you consider a minyan in one place? So all 10 have to be in one place. The Shliach Tzibur has to be there too. Let's say some are in one room and some are in another room. They don't combine even though there's a door open between them. So sometimes you have like a living room and a dining room. You have to be in the same room. Even if the majority is in shul, and there's a miyut in the zara in front of Beis HaKnesses, we don't go after the roiv to be mitzaref with them. Even those that are standing in the doorway, meaning they're in the doorway, but from the meaning if you'd close the hainu, when you'd close the door, wherever they're standing to the outside. Even though the door is open now, we look at it like it's the outside. So anybody that's in the doorway has to be in the inner half of the doorway. If he's on the outer half of the doorway, then it's a problem. This is all for Hatzir of Asara, meaning in order to make a minyan. But if there's 10, and they're saying Kaddish, Baruch Kedusha, as I call Shemei Karlam Yachalane Samin, anybody who hears it is allowed to answer Amen. Yachalas is Iman. Afilu Kama Batim Mafsika Benem, even if there's many houses in between. Afilu Mechitza Shel Barzel, because even a Mechitza of metal, Einam Mafsekes Ben Yisrael Labim Sheva Shemayim, will not separate between the father and Shemayim. Which is a very little known halacha. There can be no feces or goyim in between. Meaning, this could happen in wedding halls. If you have a goy waiter walking in between the chazan and the people, then when the goy is in between the chazan and the people, they're not allowed to answer amen, because if it goes over goyim's head or bathroom stuff, then you cannot do this. Which is one of the reasons why some of the poskim that say that you're not allowed to answer amen on the phone, some of them say because let's say it's 1,000 miles away, so it's definitely going over goyim and definitely going over the bathroom. So therefore, you wouldn't be able to answer amen. Fine, but lamaisa we poskim that you could answer amen as long as there's no delay. Hey, it's very important to hear the Kaddish and answer it afterwards with Kavanah. The Kosher came, Amen Yehesh Meirava, Shetzarach L'chaven Heitiv, you have to be Mechaven well. Shekol Aina, Amen Yehesh Meirava, B'chol Koiche, B'kavanasai. Anybody who answers Amen Yehesh Meirava with all his Kavanah, Kairan like Zardina, Shashivim Shana. They will tear up his din of 70 years. Yesh Lana says B'kol Ram, and you should answer in a loud voice. B'kol Zeh, Shoiber Kolam Mekatrigim. When you answer it loud, it breaks all the mekachim, mevatel kol gzeres kosher, it's mevatel all difficult gzeres. Mekomakom leyitin kolos gedolim. they shouldn't do it in loud voices. Because then people are going to laugh at you, and then you're going to cause them to do a chet because they're going to say lashon hara on you or laugh at you. You say yesh me rabba with the word yisparach, which Hasidim do, most Litvish don't do. And afterwards, you hear it from the Shliach Tzibur, and then we say Amen. He's saying Amen. What does he mean by that? He's probably talking about Damiron by saying Amen. Okay. This is a good one. If anyone's looking for a cooler here on a late Thursday night, here you have it. You don't have to stand for Kaddish. This is the way we pass it, by the way. Any Kaddish that's
the
said,
note in the article says that he's saying after the Yisparach to say Amen, but the note on the bottom says we're not noyeg like that.
Yeah, okay, very good. Thank you. Any Kaddish, that literally means when it's grabbed Amida, meaning if the Kaddish goes after something that's said standing up, going Achara Halo, Yesh Lamoid, Oid, you should be standing for that Kaddish. Ad Achara Amen Yesh Merabah, at least until after Yesh Merabah. Yesham Sheyesh Lamed Tamid LaKaddish L'Shar Dovish V'Kedusha, and then those that say that you should always be standing, the Yesh Lamed B'Kabel Chaimer Me'eglin Melech Maya. You should learn our Kabbalah Chayrim, Eglin Melech Moav. The Siva Eyud Boilav, Eyud came to him, but Yomer Eyud Tvara Lekimli Elecha. I have something from Hashem. But Yocham Me'al, he's saying he stood up. When he heard it was coming from Hashem, he stood up. Eglin Melech Moav, Shay Ovid Kachavim Mazolos. Eglin was Ovid Ovid Zara, come to Dvar Hashem, he stood up with Dvar Hashem. Kolshikin Anachnu Amoid. Kolshikin are us, his nation, but Yesh Lachman. And yes, you're supposed to be machmir to stand in the Kaddish, which is the minig and klai. So I don't know by Svardim. Svardim, I think, are not so machmir. Fine, let's do a couple towards tomorrow. If you don't have 9 people listening to the tzibur, there's one other thing. With the 10 people, what's with a kid holding a sefer Torah or a kid holding a chumash? So there are makilim, but it's really only in desperate situations. And even if you do it, you should only say the basic amount of kadeshim. Okay, Zion. There's not 9 people listening to the Shliach Tzibur. Lo yomer klal kaddish, don't say kaddish. Kol davar shebekdusha ein erev me'asara. Anything that's davar shebekdusha, you don't say less than 10. Taino echad omer b'tisha shoyman. If one person saying it and 9 listening. If one of them is davening Shemona Esrei, even though he can't answer with them, he does combine. And even if there's 2, 3, and 4, right? So meaning, here this gets into the big tumult. How many people do you have to wait to say Kaddish after Ma'ariv? You got a couple guys davening long Shemona Esrei, everybody wants to go home, right? So he's saying that if he stopped davening Shemona Esrei, he is mitzdaref. Saying with 2, 3, and 4, that as long as you have a roiv, then that's fine. Now it's a big machlokes whether this works. So the Kitzur is makel, right? So you should wait for 10. That's the lechatchila, right? So ein amiyat ma'akav, the miyat is not ma'akav. But if one of them is sleeping, then Kitzur, you have to wake him up. Somebody who's sleeping doesn't combine with 10. That's also not so simple. After the Shliach Tzibur says Chatzi Kaddish, now we're going back to Yishtabach. Then we say Baruch Hashem HaBarach. Tzibur Einin, Baruch Hashem HaBarach Le'olam V'ed. Shliach Tzibur Chayzer V'Omer Gam Kein Baruch Hashem HaBarach Le'olam V'ed. He shouldn't take himself out of the class. Meaning, Baruch Hu as Hashem Baruch means you should bench Hashem. So then everybody says, okay, we're going to bench Hashem. Baruch Hashem Baruch. But if the Chazan doesn't do it, then he didn't bench Hashem. He just told the people to bench Hashem. So that's why he's supposed to go back and say Baruch Hashem Baruch Olam Haba. Yesh noigin lanis achar shliach tzibur amen. There are those that are noig to answer after the shliach tzibur, to answer amen after he says Baruch Hashem Baruch Olam Haba. Shliach tzibur lo yana achar amira sakol, but the shliach tzibur should not say amen after the call. The shliach tzibur marach benikin bebaruch hu. The shliach tzibur is singing baruch hu. I'm not call yisbarach v'chulei. Vein la amrei ela b'shashu menagin. Okay, we don't do this. But when he's saying the actual words, then you shouldn't say anything. You should listen. Listen to what he says. Right? You're running very late, and you get there, and you hear them saying baruch. So then you're also able to answer. Test. A lot of people are not aware of this halacha too. That unfortunately I cannot never make it. The Kaddish, you should try and imahada to say Betzibur b'imi efshar oimra gam b'yechidus, and it's not possible. Then you can say it b'yechidus too. Question is, should you skip to it in order to get there with the tzibur? Should you skip sukkah the zimra? I'm not sure about that. Okay, we'll stop over there. Everybody should have themselves a fine night and a good Shabbos. See you Motzei Shabbos, Bez Hashem. All right, Saga.